Our top story, Manipur's iron lady Irom Sharmila has been forcibly taken away by a team of police women. This took place a short while ago when police women arrived at the dharna site where Irom has been at over the last 2 days ever since she was released from the jail hospital. Now the police women dragged a struggling and screaming Sharmila away from that tin shack. The police say that they were taking her for a medical checkup. Yesterday evening at 10 p.m. in fact, the police arrived at the dharna site along with a doctor. However, Irom refused to be checked then by the doctor. Well, Monideepa has been there ever since Irom Sharmila was released. Monideepa, you were there. Take us through what happened.
Well, we have been here since 9 o'clock in the morning, and there was a normal police presence of about 10 policemen and women hanging around. And then close to 10, there was a larger police contingent that arrived, and with them a doctor, Dr. Liang, I think that was his name. And he went into the tent in which Irom Sharmila was sitting, talking to people, smiling, completely happy, and looking forward to a day out in the Ima's market where she hoped to hold a dharna. Then suddenly we saw the doctor leaving in a bit of a huff, and we asked him, and he said she has refused to give a medical checkup, and therefore I am leaving. We don't know what will happen next. We asked him the condition of her health because she had not eaten or been force-fed in 40 hours. So that was a hugely long time. He said her health may collapse any moment. He left, and almost immediately a huge police force arrived. They argued with her. They argued with her women supporters. The women supporters chased them back, literally shouting at them and physically pushing them away. That force of policemen left, but they did not go away. They stood outside the shack, the tin shack where Irom Sharmila was sitting. And then Irom was again talking to media persons when suddenly another van full of women policemen arrived, perhaps 20, 25 of them, and they simply marched in, lifted Irom Sharmila bodily, and even as her supporters screamed, shouted, pushed, and Irom Sharmila screamed and shouted and pushed, they just dragged her away, lifted her up, and put her into a waiting jeep which had an open back. You know, it was hooded, but it had a back was open. They just bundled her in and took her away.
Right. Now, Monideepa, playing devil's advocate here, what choice did the administration of police really have? You yourself had been saying Irom Sharmila had not eaten for 40 hours. She was being force-fed all these years that she's been sitting on this hunger strike. And obviously, you were saying the activists around her, even they were worried about her health.
Certainly, they were worried. You know, she has now been without any food, either through nose feed or orally, for the last 40 hours. The last nasal feed that she had was at 2 p.m. on Wednesday. So certainly activists worried. But I will tell you that the way Irom Sharmila herself was, I mean, it was difficult to be worried for too long because she seemed full of beans, full of spirit, full of high spirit, and determined to carry her path forward, steadfastly refusing any kind of medical attention or even a checkup. So there were concerns.
Sorry to interrupt you there. Just stay on the phone line with us. We're also joined by writer and activist Beena Lakshmi Nepram, founder of the Manipur Women Gun Survivors Network. Thank you for speaking to us. We're seeing those visuals, Irom Sharmila dragged away. Do you have any information what happens next?
You see, yesterday when I met her, she was, this time she's adamant. She told me, I will not allow anyone to force feed her. I repeat, she said she will not allow anyone to force feed her. This is a very critical time in her struggle and for Manipur and for India because I can see that she's defiant right now and she says, well, it's a do or die situation for her. So that is why right now, I think the government of Manipur to withdraw the Disturbed Area Act and also for the Parliament to ensure that the Armed Forces Special Power Act, which is a block on democracy, is removed. So it's a very critical juncture in the democracy of our country, not just in Manipur of Irom Sharmila alone. So we've got to ensure that it is her health, it is not only a primary concern, but the fact that something needs to be done by the center and the state to ensure that she eats again. Her demand is, I will only eat after Afsa is removed. If Afsa is not removed, she will not eat. And she will not allow force feeding. We continue to remain worried. Manipur will be tense. It's already tense, and right now we are waiting and watching, and it's high time the government, sort of get an interlocutor to ensure that talks are developed between her side and the government to bring about a solution. 14 years is too long for the government of Manipur and India to turn away and ensure that...
Right, Ms. Nepram, of course, Irom Sharmila, and your fight continues, your demands remain, but perhaps the Manipur government couldn't really stand by and watch her health deteriorate, and they didn't want any risk to her life?
You see, the court has said that, she is, it is not just, what Irom Sharmila is doing is not just about risk to her own life, she has forgotten her own life. That's why she's struggling for more than 20,000 Manipuris have died because of the Armed Forces Special Power. She said she is sacrificing for them. She's been appealing that my struggle is not only for me, to put her on a pedestal or to create a murti for her. It's for the people of Manipur and those who have suffered under AFSPA. So for her, what I sense is she will give up her life, but she will not give up her struggle. Manipur government, if they were concerned, they would have been concerned from the first year of her protest in 2000. For 14 years, Manipur government has turned a blind eye. And the 60 members of the Legislative Assembly must call an emergency assembly meeting and actually withdraw the Disturb Area Act, which allows the armed forces to come into Manipur, and as a result, AFSPA to be imposed. These are what our solutions would be at this moment. It's a very critical time. We are worried, but at the same time, we cannot just pin it onto her alone. It should be a collective responsibility of the Manipur government and the government of the center, working with civil society to ensure that she eats once again.
All right, Bina Lakshmi Nepram, thank you so much for speaking to NDTV. Monideepa on the phone line with us still. Monideepa, we just heard Ms. Nepram there speaking about Irom Sharmila's struggle and how it will continue. How she said she would not allow herself to be force-fed again.
That's right. And repeatedly, from the moment she stepped out of her hospital jail, she has been saying that I'm going to continue my fast and not allow any nasal feeding ever again till AFSPA is repealed. But I will say one thing which Irom Sharmila said very strongly yesterday, and even this morning she repeated to me that, I am not fasting unto death. I don't want to fast unto death. I want to fast unto the repealing of AFSPA. So it's not like she has a will to die or any such thing. She has a will to fight, and she is going to fight against AFSPA as long as she can. That is her, attitude. She said that please do not make out as if I am fasting unto death. I want to fast unto the repealing of AFSPA. A very strong-minded woman who, after 40 years of no nourishment whatsoever, should have been beginning to feel the impact. But no, this morning she was, up and about, talking to everybody, smiling, saying that she is looking forward to going into Ima's market and sitting on dharna in public, rousing public opinion, public emotion. She wanted that people should support, not so much support her, but support the cause for which she is fighting. That is another thing that she is been saying consistently, that I want a mass uprising. In order to do that, she tested the grounds yesterday. She went to Ima market. She was given a rousing and regal reception by people who clapped and shouted slogans like "Save Sharmila, Save Manipur, Down with AFSPA." Again, huge crowd thronging around her. Irom Sharmila was overwhelmed and, almost out of breath for a while, but she went on, met people, accepted their chadars and garlands, went on to the press club to hold a long press conference, then sat on dharna once again, and late into the night, after 10 o'clock, she was woken up from sleep by a team of doctors and police who arrived to give her a checkup. She was angry, she refused. She said, why do you have to come at this time when I have made it plain that I will not allow a medical checkup? So suddenly in the middle of the night, she was woken up from sleep. She was sitting there awake till midnight, that we were there still with her. And, then she probably caught a few hours of sleep and then was up again this morning, full of, spirit, saying that I am feeling very strong, I feel full of strength, and I will continue my agitation. And there you had, in the morning, police arriving in large numbers, getting her away in that peaceful manner, not getting her away, but probably listening.
All right, Monideepa, thanks so much for joining us with those details. So that is the big story we're bringing to you. Irom Sharmila dragged away by the police. They remember it's been 2 days since she was released from the jail hospital, and her health had been deteriorating, though she was determined to stay on her protest fast as she was taken away by the police. We still no clarity exactly how long she will be held and on what grounds they have taken her away, as remember the court had ordered that she be freed. We will get you updates on the situation there in Imphal.